What is up, everybody? Gary here with Gibble Iguanas, also known as GBL Iguanas. And today we're going to talk about something hopefully a little bit fun. We're going to talk about a good first pet lizard. So of course we're going to talk kind of about the ones that we have here. We'll throw in, a couple of the other real common ones. And by the end of this video, we'll give you our opinion on what the best pet lizard is for your very first. Yeah, so we're just in here hanging out with our big boy Sully. He just loves getting all his scratches. So this will kind of start off our conversation here with rock iguanas, whether it be the blue iguanas like Diego, the Lewis eyes, rhino iguanas like this big bubs right here, or Cuban rock iguanas are going to be your third one. Now, in my opinion, they are just one of the best, if not the best, pet lizards you can have as long as you have the space for them. As far as your first reptile, so let's talk a little bit about these guys here. So Sully here is a sweetheart. They don't all start out this way and they don't all stay this way. As babies and when they're young, they're very, very, very flighty. So if you're new into the hobby, or if you're looking something for your child to enjoy, a baby rhino iguana or rock iguana is not going to be very good for them, because they will spook you. Now, as they get bigger, you can just see he's standing up here enjoying his pets, and that's what most of all of our big ones do. But Sully here is only half grown. And you can just see next to my hand how big he is. This guy is easily going to get 4 foot, 25 pounds. Now, the other species will get a little smaller, like Diego's 4 foot, about 15 pounds. But still, that is a big lizard for a first timer, and they do require very large setups. As you can just see in here, granted, there's a pair of them in here, but this is a big walk-in cage. This is what rock iguanas need for space. Their diet's super easy, so something a beginner could do. They're herbivores, so just stuff that you buy at the grocery store, you can feed them with. But just given how large they do get and their flightiness as babies, this is not something that I would recommend as your first pet lizard. Now, for your first giant lizard, absolutely. I don't think you can get any better than this right here. And as he gets bigger, he's just going to get even more and more majestic. So yeah, for your first giant lizard, rock iguana all day long. But for your first pet lizard, I don't think so. Let's go on to the next one and see if we can find y'all a better one. Boop. Alrighty, so next on our list, not a lizard, but it's a 4-legged reptile, and it's not a snake. So I'm kind of just throwing it in here because these do make, they make a good one. Tortoises. Now, not these guys. Aldabras, they're a very, very large species of tortoise for those who aren't aware. These are the guys that when you go to a zoo, these are those giant, like coffee table size ones. They're going to get 450, 500, 550 plus pounds. And they're not practical for your average person. As adults, you need a lot of pasture land for these guys. And also just the price to get them. Typically you'll see, a little baby, you're looking at $17, $18, $19 just for a small one. So Aldabras are not going to make a good pet as a first. But there are other species of tortoise that really do, start cleaning y'all off, that can really make a great, great, great addition. Oh, love them just eating their cactus. So tortoises as a whole, one, they live a long time, so you don't typically have to worry about getting attached to something and then having it pass away at 8, 9, 10 years old, like some other species of reptiles will. And there's a lot of smaller ones that you can keep practically in your home. So there's the Russian tortoise, Herman's tortoise, redfoot tortoises, even though I typically won't recommend a redfoot because they do have very, very high humidity needs. And unless you're experienced with high humidity animals, that can be a little tricky. So tortoises are typically easy. They're different species, have different diets. So these guys are a grassland tortoise. So they're designed to eat more of like grasses, hays, cactus. But the average tortoise you're going to see in the pet trade are your standard herbivores of eating different fruits, vegetables, leafy greens. And they can make really, really, really great pets. That all being said, these aren't an animal you can typically handle. You can take them out of their pen You can put them down, you know, if you have a space for them, and you can let them run around and play. But these aren't the guys that you can typically pick up and handle. And I know a lot of folks, when they get a pet lizard or pet reptile, it's something that you want to enjoy interacting with. So these guys, as amazing as they are, and honestly as simple as they are, I just don't think that they're going to be considered, you know, one of the best pets. All right, so the next one we got is the one that a lot of you out there might be saying already is the best first pet lizard. And this is a very common one that people get. Bearded dragons. So bearded dragons are awesome pets. They are typically very, very docile. Ozzy here sometimes can be a little butt-faced, but he's never aggressive. Sometimes he just likes running away. Yeah, so bearded dragons typically, they're a very, very good beginner lizard. Even as an advanced lizard, they're just really fun to keep. So they don't get very big. Typically, they're gonna average right around 18 inches or so. Their diet is very easy. You know, they eat greens as well as different bugs. They do need, you know, heat and humidity, or I'm sorry, heat and UVB. So just their docile nature, good size, and you know their diet, they typically make very, very, very good first-time lizards. Now the reason why I would say probably a better second or third lizard really honestly goes down to their diet. With them being omnivorous, you know, so when they're young and babies, the way that their diet is, you know, 75-80% bugs, 20-25% vegetable matter. These guys go through a lot of bugs, and if it's something that you're not prepared for, I mean, you'll easily go through at least $20 a week in bugs for one animal. Just for one, let alone having four. That being said, if that's something that doesn't bother you, you know, and your finances are to where spending a lot on bugs is not a problem. Hi, Bobo. And you're okay with feeding bugs, you know, crickets, roaches, worms, stuff like that. These guys actually do make very, very, very good first-time lizards. And they're gorgeous. They come in all sorts of different color morphs. So like Bo here being a super citrus. So you can see he just has that golden yellow color over all of them and in his beard. You have Harley up there, or Ozzy up there, who's red. So these guys make very, very, very good pets. Now, like I said, I don't recommend them as the number one because their care is a little bit more involved than what people think, but that's for another video. To actually check our previous videos, we have a video all about bearded dragons. Now another option that we don't have, but we can just talk about real quick that you'll see often are some geckos, whether leopard geckos, crested geckos. You're gonna see those pretty frequently. Leopard geckos are another very good one. They're easy to get, they're typically cheap. They are insectivores, you know, they're gonna eat all bugs. What I don't like about leopard geckos is they are nocturnal. So for the average human being that's, you know, up during the day, works at night, they're coming out when you're going to bed. So, you know, the interaction with them isn't gonna be quite as fulfilling or quite as frequent as you get with some of these other lizards. Very easy to care for, but just because of their schedule. And then they can drop their tails as well, which is a gecko thing, and that's just, I'm not a big fan of that, because when you're inexperienced, something can freak you out that then freaks them out, and then they can drop a tail. And that goes for crested geckos too. Cresteds are easy because, you know, they really don't need heat. You don't have to feed them bugs. There's different pre-made diets that they thrive on, but they're very jumpy, which again, there's always exceptions. Typically crested geckos, they're very, very jumpy, and then they do drop their tails very easily. So in an ideal world, when you're looking at your first pet lizard, you want something that's gonna be essentially bulletproof, which those unfortunately aren't. You know, the iguanas, bearded dragons, they're a lot more bulletproof, but not quite, like I said, to that level, which brings us to our next one. So the last one that we have here to talk about on our list is the blue-tongued skink, which is, well, they've always been one of my favorite species of lizards. So these are another lizard that's super easy to care for. They don't get huge. They're gonna get a little bit bigger than a bearded dragon, You know, a lot of times these guys are going to max out 20 to 22 inches. Always exceptions with different subspecies, but they're never going to really amass that size or pass that size. They're typically very, very chill and docile. Now, he was a little bit of a pooper when we first got him. He was a baby, of course. But these guys, I like calling them potato lizards because, I mean, they just kind of chill. And then especially as they get bigger, they'll just chill there with you. Their nails are a little bit sharp, but with the right stuff in their cage, you know, put in different rocks and all that, it files it down to where it's like this. I mean, it doesn't feel great, but it's not breaking skin or even coming close to it. So it's something that even, you know, kids can handle. A few different types of blue-tongued skinks that make better pets. So Laka here is a Halmaheron, which requires a higher humidity level. Don't necessarily recommend one of those as a first, but some of the other species, mainly like the northern blue-tongued skinks out of Australia, those guys don't have crazy humidity needs. And they act the same, they eat the same everything. What I really like about these guys is their diet. So yes, they are omnivores. You can feed them bugs and greens and kind of how you would a bearded dragon, excuse me. But what we actually do, if you saw one of our previous videos as well, where we went in depth about this, these guys can live exclusively off of wet dog and cat food, which sounds beyond crazy, but the more research we did into it, a lot of people do it with success. And even a lot of like the northerns in the wild, people see them in their backyard eating dog food. So that's what makes these guys so awesome, is you don't have to worry about bugs, greens, nothing. You literally can just go to the pet store, buy good quality wet dog or cat food. You know, you can mix some other things in with it, but it's super easy to feed them. You don't need a huge habitat for them, very similar to a bearded dragon, like 4 foot by 2 foot cage. And these guys are just awesome. You can see he's just chilling with me. Super easy to feed him. And in all honesty, that brings us to the highlight of the video, the top part of the video, what y'all been waiting for. Our recommendation for the #1 best beginner pet lizard is the blue-tongued skink. Yeah, these guys are they're just awesome. Just because of the fact they don't get huge, but they get to a size it's a substantial size, so you're not afraid they're gonna break in half like a crested gecko. Good size, super, super easy to feed, where it's like you don't gotta worry about bugs. Just a 50-cent can of dog food feeds them. As adults, they're only eating 1 to 2 times a week. They're super chill, they're gorgeous. In my opinion, they're such an underrated species of reptile. Oh, God bless yous. So yeah, this is our recommendation for the #1 pet lizard. If y'all agree, disagree, if you have something else that you think's a better option, please leave it in the comments below. You know, we'd be more than happy to discuss it further, because you know, this is completely opinionated. You can talk to 10 different people and you're going to get 10 different answers as to what the best first pet lizard would be. This is just what we're going to suggest. They're just super easy, super awesome. So appreciate y'all sticking with us. Please, as always, like, comment, subscribe, turn them post notifications on. If you want a really awesome shirt like the one you've seen me wearing, right on our website, gblaguanas.com. We have shirts, hoodies, all sorts of fun stuff. And we're still running our 10% off the entire store through the end of the month. Promo code is Diego10. Do you really want to make little Laka upset? You wouldn't like him when he's upset. Go buy a t-shirt. But we'll see y'all on the next episode, and hope y'all enjoyed. Bye, Laka.